Hi, I'm Reverend Paula Skiles with Unity Church of San Marcos, and thank you for being with us on this wonderful Sunday morning in San Marcos, Texas. And so we begin, and we have a guest speaker this morning who is going to share with us a message. As she offers this message, Linda Gillespie is our licensed unit teacher who will be sharing with us, and so we invite you to enjoy the service with us. Linda?
Thank you, Paula. Let me get this thing situated here. I don't need one more thing in my hands. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy spring. I'm loving our spring this year. Oh my goodness. It's a little early, but you know, we'll take what we get. And the bluebonnets, the wildflowers are spectacular. And even the mushrooms, they're glorious. The truth be told, I just love Lent. It's that 40 days where I intentionally focus on letting go of everything that stands in the way of fully experience the power of the Christ within. Easter. I resonate with the perspective that Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, approaches the teachings of Jesus in his way of describing Lent. And in his book, Keep a True Lent, he describes it this way. Lent is a season of spiritual growth, a time for progressive unfoldment, when we can bend and merge our minds with God mind. The way is open for the Lord to glorify us and to lift us up to a higher, purer, more spiritual state. Fasting is a part of that. Prayer and fasting is what Lent is about. And fasting means to abstain from. It's abstinence. The place of overcoming is in the consciousness of man. In fasting, as we as metaphysicians abstain from error thinking and meditate on spiritual truth until we incorporate it into our consciousness or oneness with the Father. That's the way Charles Fillmore sees it. Fasting is nothing more than letting go of all that is keeping us from experiencing the fullness of God. Those things that keep us in that little cage. As I have been following the Unity booklet that you all have now, the 40 days of letting go, which, like I said, you all have. It's a little gift packet from Unity of New Braunfels. You're more than welcome. And this is the third Sunday of Lent. And the focus for today in that booklet is the process of detachment. Understand that detachment is a process. It's not a once and done thing. It's a process. Reverend Paul Hasselback is the one who has written this piece for today, and I'd like to share it with you. Desire is manifested from our power of love. When we are strongly attached to something, we strongly desire it. We love it in one way or another. Excessive desire gives rise to excessive attachment. Attachment is not the problem. Unhealthy attachment is. Detachment occurs when we use our powers of discernment, understanding, and will to moderate our power of love while desiring something more valuable, like deeply knowing our inherent divinity. He says the solution is easy. The application takes patience. Detachment involves no longer giving power or importance to any unhealthy attachments while focusing our desire, our love, on our inherent divinity, which is divine substance composed of divine ideas and the laws of mind. Divine ideas and laws of mind are the fundamental ingredients for manifestation and demonstration. The scripture reference is from Matthew 6:21. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. He says the solution is easy. The application takes patience. Detachment involves no longer giving power or importance to any unhealthy attachment while refocusing our desire, our love, on our inherent divinity. How quickly we forget that divinity that is within each of us. Well, having read all this, my curiosity kicked in. How would I identify an unhealthy attachment? So I had to think about that. It was a good question, and one I've been toying with for a long time. For me, unhealthy attachments, the things I desire, remembering that excessive desire gives rise to excessive attachment. Renewing our minds by letting go. No, excuse me. Those are the things that I'm addicted to. All those things that have served me well over my lifetime that no longer serve me. I think that our culture celebrates addiction. If you think about it, the commercials, the ads in the newspaper, the magazines, the billboards selling real estate, cars, cruises, and the list goes on and on and on and on. The newest and the latest, whatever they're selling. Addiction doesn't always involve a substance like alcohol or drugs. Those are the things that come to mind when we hear the word addiction. Those two things come first. But there is a whole long list that follows. There's sex, there's food, there's shopping, there's, and it just keeps going on and on. But there are also the other things, like the need to be right, gossip, judgmentalness, criticism, the need to be loved, one-upmanship, things that we hold on to so tightly for so long, it becomes second nature. And we don't even think about it. It's just a way of life. But are those things that we're holding on to really serving us at this point in our lives? In Romans 12:2 we read, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds, so that you may discern the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." I love that scripture, because that's what has occurred for me when I came to Unity. My mind has been transformed, and I am deeply grateful for that. I feel like that we have done a great job of conforming to this world. on many levels. As we seek to discern the will of God, we are being transformed as we renew our minds. From my understanding, this is what detachment is all about. Renewing our minds by letting go of the unhealthy attachments that we are unconsciously holding on to. A few days ago, during morning practice, I read an article by Mark Nepo. I don't know whether you're familiar with that author or not. In his book of Awakening, he shares a story about an old Chinese process of how they set traps for monkeys. They cut the tops off a coconut, leaving a hole just big enough for the monkey to stick its hand in. And then they sprinkle rice in the coconut. And when the monkey smells the coconut, they reach in to grab the rice. They have a handful of rice because they're hungry and they can't get their hand out of the coconut. And this is the only food they have. And monkeys don't think rationally. They don't know that there's more food out there. In this moment, this is the only food they have. And they are the prisoner. They become prisoners of their own making. How have we done that? How have we become the prisoners of our own making? What is the rice and what is keeping us from opening our grip and letting it go? We know that there's more for us out there than we can conceive of. But what are we holding on to so that we are not dragging all of this with us? The monkey could drag the coconut, depending on the size of the monkey. But its focus is right there. A few years ago, I learned a lesson from a very wise woman. On a Sunday morning, in a Sunday talk, she shared something that she learned from her therapist in regard to her father. He had just passed away. Her mother told her at that time that that the minister was her father's favorite child. And she was just shocked because her experience growing up with the man was that he was distant, demanding, and uncaring. And as she was going over that with her therapist said, just because someone doesn't love you the way you think they should does not mean they don't love you. I heard that loud and clear. It's kind of like I think Myrtle Fillmore might have felt when she heard E.B. Weeks talk about the fact that as a beloved child of God, we do not inherit disease. My mother had narcolepsy, and as a result, she was unavailable to me, emotionally and physically. As a child, I didn't feel loved by her. As I began to see the situation from a higher perspective, once I heard that piece of information, I was able to rise above that what I knew or what I thought I knew and see all of it from a different perspective. My mother loved me with every fiber of her being. And at some level, I think I knew that. But until I was able to rewrite that story, could I move on with my life without dragging that along with it? The only thing that really changed was my perspective. Nothing else happened other than that piece of information. I changed my perspective. All of this reminds me of the necessity of the 4 rules for life that I learned from Angeles Aarons many years ago. Show up, pay attention, tell the truth, and don't be attached to the outcomes. When I follow these 4 simple rules, I don't add to the list of unhealthy attachments that I have to contend with somewhere down the line and detach from. I refer to her 4 rules of life as simple. In theory, they are simple. In practice, sometimes they're difficult for me. As Hasselbeck says, the solution is easy. The application takes patience. Detachment involves no longer giving power or importance to any unhealthy attachment while refocusing our desire, our love, on our inherent divinity. We need to be patient with ourselves as we practice not giving power and importance to the outcomes by creating unhealthy outcomes. Sometimes I have to step back and look at the situation in order to be able to see it from a higher perspective so that I can loosen my grip on it, so that I can open my eyes to see what I'm holding on to so tightly that is no longer serving me. I then can ask for what I need. And most of the time, my asking is in the serenity prayer. It serves me well. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The courage to, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This is what helps me to refocus my desire, my love, on my inherent divinity. And I offer it to you today as a tool of detachment. May your 2023 journey to Easter morning be a glorious adventure. And as David plays for us, I invite you to relax your body and clear your mind. Let your seat support you. Take 3 deep, letting go breaths. Now open your eyes and focus on your hands. Just lay them open in your lap and look at them. These hands of yours are for your use, to care for your body temple, to earn a living, to caress your loved ones, to create the life of your dreams, to serve God, to do what is yours to do as you are divinely guided. These are the hands of God. God's hands in this world are your hands. Now close your hands into balled fists. As you consider your fists, consider how difficult, if not impossible, it would be to care for your body temple, earn a living, caress a loved one. How difficult would it be to create the life of your dreams? Serve God. Meditate on what the rice is in your fists, the things you can't let go of. Breathe deeply and open your hands. Try to see what you're holding on to. What is the rice in your hand? Now, practice opening your heart by making a fist as you inhale and then open it as you exhale. Make a fist as you inhale, then open it as you exhale. One more time. Make a fist as you inhale, open it as you exhale. With your heart wide open, you can easily let Spirit run your life and can ascertain what is God's will for your life. David will now offer our affirmation that goes along with our talk for today.
There's a song, it's actually by Ricky Byers and Michael Beckwith. I might throw in a little Lennon McCartney in there. Letting go. There was a time in my life I thought I'd have to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say that if you are discouraged, Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you also, Linda. We appreciate you so much for being with us today. And for those of you who have been with us online, we are hopeful that this service has served you as well. So thank you. And if you feel that you've received, we appreciate any gifts of offering as they help us to continue. Bless you.